Do you remember all the monsters that shaped your imagination? Whether it's dinosaurs, giant apes, monsters of the sea, monsters of space, of Greek mythology, of Arabian folklore, they are all synonymous with the name Ray Harryhausen. He was single-handedly responsible for bringing these creatures to life on the big screen and making them as memorable as they are today. He helped invigorate the genres of sci-fi, fantasy adventure, and prehistoric epics. Through the art of stop-motion animation, he created all these wonderful beasts with his own hands and moved them frame by frame in front of the camera. But have you ever wondered if any of these stop-motion models still exist? Most of these films were made between the 50s and 70s, so it would seem unlikely, but get ready, this is going to make you real happy. I was in Phoenix, Arizona, making an appearance at the Game On Expo, which I highly recommend, and it just so happened that 2 hours away in Tucson, a golden opportunity was calling. As I approached this mysterious door, it seemed I was shrinking like one of the miniature models, or like Willy Wonka.
Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities, and some of my realities become dreams.
Here I met with Emily Wolverton, the curator at the Mini Time Machine Museum of Miniatures. It's a nonprofit organization founded by the late Patricia and Walter Arnell. What began as a love for miniatures grew into a spectacular collection of over 500 dollhouses and room boxes and thousands of fine-crafted miniature people and objects. And to showcase the diversity of miniatures as special effects in film, they've worked with the Ray and Diana Harryhausen Foundation to bring in from Edinburgh the original Harryhausen models. That's really amazing. Like, I can't believe I'm looking at these right now. All right, let's go over here. Emily and the marketing manager, Amanda, were so kind to give a private tour on their off day for me and Justin. But if you're in the Tucson area, you can come here yourself anytime during business hours. But just a heads up, the Harryhausen exhibit is here until May 3rd, 2026.
I mean, Ray is a legend of the cinema, so having his pieces here has been great. Yeah, very excited.
Oh my God, I'm looking at the Hydra. This is the actual Hydra from Jason and the Argonauts. Just think, Harryhausen's hands were on this thing, moving each one of its heads individually for every frame of film. We're told that each frame may have required 30 or more minuscule movements, all of which he had to keep track of. Also from Jason and the Argonauts is the army of skeletons born from the Hydra's teeth. This is one of the most iconic scenes ever. I mean, what's more cool than a sword fight against skeletons? So we were informed that there existed 7 skeleton models in total, and here on display are 3 of them. And the one with the blue shield is the same skeleton that first appeared in the 7th Voyage of Sinbad. Holy crap, it's the Kraken.
Let loose the Kraken!
This is a core memory right here, seeing Clash the Titans for the first time with my dad when I was just a little kid. This, to me at least, is the most famous version of the Kraken, even though traditionally it was a giant squid of Norse mythology. There were actually multiple Krakens made for the film, but this, we were told, was the main one. Walking around, we were speechless. Seeing these cinematic artifacts in real life makes you appreciate the craftsmanship even more. There is so much detail put into these things, and just think, they have movable joints. You'd think the limbs would all crack apart. So it's great to know they've been well preserved, and being here is like meeting the monsters. What's so cool about seeing characters like this in real life, it's really like the only type of character from a film that you could actually see. Yeah, like that they're still alive in a way.
They are.
Yeah, all in their final positions, right?
Yep, yeah. That's right. Officially they probably could move, but they don't want them to. Yeah. We don't want to risk any more damage to them.
Not all of them have survived. Many were made from latex, which degrades. The technicalities of the deterioration of Harryhausen models would be an interesting conversation for a chemist. And many of these creatures have unique stories. Kali from the Golden Voyage of Sinbad and Talus from Jason and the Argonauts are examples of ones that still exist, but are in too bad shape to travel. So the ones here on display are bronze replicas made by Harryhausen's own hands. And that's kind of appropriate for Talus. I always imagined him as a bronze statue, and the more I'd stare, the more I expected him to start moving. I could almost hear that metallic screeching sound as his rusted joints come to life. The most interesting story may be the flying horse Pegasus from Clash of the Titans, who I'll always think of when I see the TriStar logo. On display are a prototype and an armature that was ultimately not used in the film. We were told the actual Pegasus is doing fine, but can't travel because, get this, the wings were made from taxidermy duck. Now, since it has real animal parts, Customs needs to inspect it, and we wouldn't want that. So Precious Pegasus is sitting this one out. Then we get into the next category, monsters that were recycled into other monsters. The Rhedosaurus from The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms is an important one because it was Ray's second feature and his first time as chief animator. It was the first giant atomic lizard predating Godzilla by a year, and it was based on a story by Ray's good old friend Ray Bradbury. On display is the lighthouse the Rhedosaurus destroys. You can even see the missing bricks. And there's a prototype of the beast and a bronze replica sculpted by Harryhausen himself. The original stop-motion model was dismantled so that the parts could be reused, eventually becoming the dragon from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. I don't know which exact parts were used, but the dragon is now down to just a head, so we can only hope. Is that also the Rhedosaurus head? And then, from the film It Came From Beneath the Sea, there's the octopus. Excuse me, sixtopus, as Ray called it, because it had only 6 tentacles. I mean, hey, I never counted them. It's right here, along with the miniature of Oakland Ferry Gate. Now, check this out. The tentacles were removed and repurposed as dinosaur tails. And being that he made so many dinosaurs, we can only guess which ones. The Yimmer from 20 Million Miles to Earth, seen here as a marble copy, but the original armature was repurposed as the Cyclops from Seventh Voyage. And all that's left of the Cyclops is the armature. Now you want to get real confusing? The left leg is not original. You're seeing a replacement leg added in 2017. The original leg was used for Calibus from Clash of the Titans, who was repurposed from Trog from Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. Yes, so Trog became Calibus. And you can see the resemblance. There's also a smaller version of Calibus here, and we're told that both of them were used in the film. And of course, Calibus was also performed by a live actor in the close-ups. As a kid, I thought he was really creepy. I remember covering my eyes. The cephalopod from Mysterious Island is one of those creatures you only see underwater, so it's kind of weird looking at it in real life. We were told the original shell was stolen on set, so what we see is a replacement shell that was made in 2011 by Alan Criswell, who worked under Ray's guidance. So perhaps the original shell is still out there. But fortunately, many of the monsters and props have fully survived in their entirety, such as this scorpion from Clash of the Titans, and also Bubo. Yeah, Bubo. I love Bubo. We're told that there were 4 Bubos in total of various sizes, and 2 of them are here, a small and medium size, both of which were armatured and animated. There was also an even tinier one, about 1.5 inches, that was used for the flying sequences. And then there was the largest of all, which was used for the scenes where he interacts with the actors. This one was mechanical, operated by remote control. I'll come back to Clash the Titans because we want to save the best for last. Seeing the flying saucers from Earth versus the flying saucers was already pretty amazing. When you think of the classic flying saucer trope, these are the flying saucers. But what really blew my mind was this. I see some strings on these.
Those are the original strings.
Wow, oh my God.
Those are the original strings, so they were suspended.
So I come all the way to Tucson, Arizona, and the thing I get excited most about is strings. Yeah. When Harryhausen was animating these things, in order to disguise the strings, he had to keep repainting them to match the backgrounds. Another truly delightful film of his was First Men in the Moon, which had a lot of humor, depicting a travel to the moon in 1899 in a makeshift sphere. It's a cool take on the H.G. Wells story, and the film happened to come out a few years before the real moon landing. This was the last film that Ray's father, Fred Harryhausen, helped with. Since he worked with machines and metal, he was able to assist with lots of the metal armatures that Ray required.
So his dad actually made the armature for this original moon calf, which was one of the most complicated armatures. It moves just like a little caterpillar with all those little legs, but his dad was still making his armatures for him.
Even though Ray had some assistants here and there, he was mostly a one-man show. He did everything from the concept drawings, the creation, to the actual animation. But look at the quality of his drawings. Even when he was pre-visualizing these movies, his skill was phenomenal. He could have made it big as an illustrator, besides being a special effects master. It's important to note that while he perfected the art of stop motion, he did not invent it. His big inspiration was Willis O'Brien, who animated the original King Kong. When Ray saw Kong up on the big screen, that was his big moment of inspiration.
This is a piece by Willis O'Brien, and this is really important to them, that in any Harryhausen exhibition that they pay tribute to Willis O'Brien for just how much he inspired and supported Ray.
And he eventually got to work with O'Brien as an animation technician on Mighty Joe Young, which I truly think is one of the greatest films, up there with King Kong. Ray did the majority of the animation on Mighty Joe, and there is an armature replica on display which was made in 2011. But the point is, behind every great pioneer, there's a mentor. Behind every Obi-Wan, there's a Yoda. Willis O'Brien was Yoda.
Size matters not.
Even back in his childhood days, Ray was making his own creations, and even those are here.
And you can see that at only age 14, he was making this tribute to King Kong. He was starting to work, with marionettes, trying to figure it out. And this cool picture behind here, that's Ray. He's only 18 years old. He's 18 years old. Look at the set that he has created at age 18.
Ray also worked with George Pal, who was famous for Puppetoons, where he would switch out the heads of the animated characters. George also went on to produce the original War of the Worlds film adaptation and many other classic sci-fi features. But Ray, in his early years, worked on the fairy tales, the Aesop's fables, and Mother Goose stories. These are the kind they used to show in schools on rainy days. So many remember these too as nostalgic childhood memories.
Some people see these and they're like, oh my gosh, I remember these from my childhood, but they didn't realize that was Ray Harryhausen. That was him. So that's pretty neat. We do love having this here.
But if you were to ask, what's your favorite Harryhausen stop motion character? We all agreed, Medusa, from Clash of the Titans. And I just remember that scene frightened the hell out of me as a kid. One look at her eyes, you turn to stone. And that's almost what I did. I just froze because, wow, it's Medusa.
My favorite, if I'm forced to choose, would be Medusa. She is my girl. She is a legend, icon. This is a fantastic model. Ray made her at a size that was easy to manipulate, but also that could withstand a lot of heavy close-ups. He was able to give her a lot of nice detail.
There's 12 snakes on her head, 150 joints, posable eyes, mouth and fingers, and with all those flickering lights, just think how complicated this was to animate. This was Harryhausen's last film, no wonder. After that, how do you top it? It's cool to know that this is the one and only Medusa. Apparently, there were no others made for the film.
But I just love her. I love her face. I love the way she crawls into the scene when she comes on the set, the way he lights her, everything about her. And we do have her here with Ray's original concept sketch of her. So you can see that really he created her just as he saw her in his mind's eye. He was an excellent artist. So she's my favorite.
Yeah, I'm so glad she held up too.
Yeah, she looks great.
It seems almost hard to believe Medusa would still look this good after all these years. I mean, I was a baby when this movie was made, and it was the only Harryhausen film I was alive for. But I can give some new perspective here, because this was actually not my first time seeing these props. I once saw them back in 2010 at an exhibit in LA. Unfortunately, no photos were allowed. At that time, I was a little skeptical that these were the actual models because of how well maintained they were. But 16 years after that exhibit, they still look the same. So I witnessed them age that long. Now the rest isn't so far-fetched. I'm now a believer that some things just last forever. Ray Harryhausen passed away in 2013, but clearly his work still lives on, not just in memory, but in physical presence as well. It's nice to know that he and others who were close to him had the foresight to help preserve these wonderful creations. The intangible computer-generated creations of today won't be remembered in this same way. They're truly one of a kind. There could not exist a Ray Harryhausen today. Another thing cool about him was that he had total control. There was no boardroom meeting discussing the Hydra or the Kraken. He just did it from the inception all the way to execution. And just as he was inspired by Willis O'Brien, he continues to inspire others, such as Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Guillermo del Toro, John Landis, Peter Jackson, Tim Burton, just to name a few. The question is, who is he inspiring right now? Whenever your imagination is sparked, whenever you look upon a dinosaur and think, wow, remember when that was awesome? And then you realize it still is. That's when you're part of the magic. You can almost feel Ray smiling at you, saying, take it away, you're next. So keep that fantasy and wonder alive. And if you get the chance, come to Tucson to the Mini Time Machine Museum of Miniatures. The Harryhausen exhibit lasts until May 3rd. And thanks again to Emily for all the information and trivia.